getting ready. With about another minute or two, we'll be live, broadcasting live. So enjoy the behind the scenes preparation.
How about preparation?
Yeah, preparation, that too. What did I say?
Preparation. Like we're
Preparation.
perps.
Yeah.
Preparation. Yeah,
Preparation.
And
I
perspiration.
don't know what
And
I'm thinking
perspiration.
about.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, and if you'd like to, you can go to our Facebook page, Chips, letter N, Salsa Show. If you haven't liked our page, please like it. We would love if you did. We're on Facebook Live? Now? Okay. Whenever I was talking. All right. Welcome to the Chips and Salsa Show. It's time for the Thursday edition. We're here every Thursday at 5 p.m. I'm Alice Lara here with
Don Jorge El Alacran.
and we have a very special guest we're going to talk to intensely in just a few minutes. We have Reverend Clyde Bowen.
Hi,
here.
good to see you again. So glad to be here again.
Always happy to have you here.
Always happy to be part of the family, Chips and Salsa family. Thank you so much for all you're doing for the community.
Thank you. He's going to talk about a special event. It's an annual EPOD Emancipation Proclamation Day that you will, even if you don't live in the Phoenix area, and if you do live even in Arizona, it would be worth coming to Phoenix for it in February. But even if you don't, you'll want to hear about it. We're going to talk about politics. We have whole enchiladas. We have cocotazos. I want to give a shout out also to our Super Sarah intern behind the camera. And I think we're probably going to ask her to weigh in on one of these cocotazos because it's involving student loans and things like that. And as you know, our lovely intern, Super Sarah, is going to school right now. She is in her first year at Grand Canyon University. Woohoo! Yeah, give a shout out. It's a great school. Right on. All right.
Education.
Yeah. George, I think I want to do a few little announcements first and get those done. Our good friend Terry Mendoza is getting ready to have the first meeting of RNHA, that's the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, and that's coming up next Tuesday, and that's right here, right at ACGOP headquarters. So if you live in the area or even close by, are you going to be there by any chance?
I have not checked my schedule. We're so involved in putting together the Emancipation Proclamation and doing a few other things that we're doing, and I'm also writing and getting ready for my podcast and opportunity
Oh,
to
you'll
be
have
in
to
front
tell
of
us
the
all
camera.
about
So
that.
we'll give you a little taste of what I'm up to. So
Well,
I can't promise, but I know Terry, and I know she does great work. And like I always mention when I'm here, my mother is Portuguese, so I am part of any Hispanic network on the planet, and more than happy to
He's
be
a
part of the
Latino
Republican
chipster.
network.
Absolutely. We appreciate that. But if you'd like to come out, that's Tuesday, January 28th here at the headquarters, and we're at 3501 North 24th Street in Phoenix. The social hour is 5:30 to 6:30. They're going to have homemade pozole.
Oh.
So, I think George and I are going to try to be here after our Tuesday show.
Yes.
And then they start the meeting at 6:30. I'll tell you what, Terry does a wonderful job in that she says, we're going to finish at 7:30, and she does. She's always on time. She does a great job. If you want to contact her, if you have questions, I'm going to go ahead and give her email out, 01 Teresa Mendoza, that's Teresa Mendoza, Mendoza, at Gmail. So 01 Teresa Mendoza at gmail.com. And boy, we talked on Tuesday about the Life Rally on Saturday, and I have some great pictures. They just had a really good time. I didn't make it. I don't think you made it either. Were you out there?
No, I wasn't there, but I was there certainly in spirit. And
All
of
of
course,
us.
we're from the womb to the tomb, being a religious person, but we certainly appreciate what you're doing, and I thank my mother every day that I was born and not aborted.
And it was a very good event. In fact, and this is going to be one of our whole enchiladas. I think I put Tatiana in the wrong position there, but I'll fix that later. Sorry, got distracted. The White House declares National Sanctity of Human Life Day on Roe versus Wade anniversary, so that was on the 22nd, yesterday.
Yes.
And our POTUS, President of the United States, he's going to be the first president to attend the March for Life in person. So that's cool. We're going to talk about that later as well.
Can I make a quick comment
Absolutely.
about the life?
And we'll be talking more about it, but you can make a quick one now if you'd like.
We've always found out that children do better in education it's what they don't do in school. It's what they do at home. And I would say to everyone that goes out and marches for life, the real battle begins when you get back in your car, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Never think of the march as the end. The march is always just the beginning.
Good. That's good. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. So then a few more little announcements. Our Greater Phoenix Republican Women will be meeting the second Wednesday in February. We'll tell you more about that. My LD 27, it's the South Mountain, South Phoenix area. We're going to have our meeting on February 11th, so that's the second Tuesday. We have like a social hour at 6:30. We start the meeting at 7 p.m. And along those lines too, my good friend Tatiana Pena, she filed for Arizona House. She's officially going to run, and so if you want to support her, please go to her Facebook site. I think it's Pena for Arizona, P-E-N-A for Arizona. Okay, and I already told you about that. Also, I want to tell you, there's a Freedom Expo coming up in March. Are you going to go to this thing? There's so much going on.
Oh, there's so much going on. Yes, I am trying to. I've committed myself. I took a little bit of time for myself in 2016. So, I'm sorry, going back to 2016 because I've been reading the Republican platform 2020. So, yeah, I want to
Nice.
really, this is the year we all always say all hands on deck. Boy, if there was ever a time for all hands on deck and everybody pushing and doing yeoman's duty to get President Trump reelected, this would be that year.
Absolutely. So the keynote speaker is going to be Charlie Kirk, who is the founder and president of Turning Point USA. Sarah, if you can go to this, and I'll give you one of these if you want to try to make it. The MC will be James T. Harris. I think James T. is going to be at your event.
I'm definitely hoping and praying every day that we can have James.
We're going to hold him to it.
All right.
We're
Yes,
gonna do
yes,
that.
yes. It's going to be smaller, something that he can handle,
One
something
to
that we'll be
you.
very happy to have
And
him.
one to you,
I'll be
because
a
I
part
started
of it.
copying and
Is that gonna be inside the venue?
Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a
Oh.
moment. Then also there's a Second Amendment coming, which we gotta go to this too, George, and this is gonna be at the Capitol Lawn on February 15th, and that's downtown, so that's 1700 West Washington from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's, boy, there's a lot of stuff going on. I don't wanna overwhelm you, but even if, you might wanna just come visit Phoenix, because there's a lot going on in February. Come and hang out for this, and stay for the E-Pod, and
Definitely save the date,
right.
time for all of these sorts of things.
And we'll have the announcements, which we try to announce each show, all these special things. I do want to announce that today is National Handwriting Day. So, I just had a conversation, and a lot of kids don't know handwriting. They don't learn it anymore.
No, I know it's a tragedy, national tragedy. They took cursive out of the schools. I think it's important to be able to write, with all due respect to everyone with our boxes and PDAs and everything that we're on typing. But still,
It's
that's
important.
something that goes back. I think it's almost primal, and I think we need to remember those sorts of things for a reason.
I think so too, plus your individual
Yeah.
signature. So the good thing is, in Arizona, they did make a law.
Uh-huh.
So they mandated it. You must teach it in the public schools.
Good.
So-
I remember yes.
And that's
yes.
pretty recent,
Mhm.
just a few years ago I think it happened. I know, Sarah, you know how to write cursive, right? Yeah, it's beautiful.
We still do our birthday cards, and we think that people appreciate the fact that we sit down and actually write out each and every card in cursive to let people know that we still care about them, and also that we still care about the cursive process.
And it helps me to think when I have to write like that and I use that. There's something about
Well,
connecting.
that's what I meant about being primal. I mean, if you've been doing it for the last 1,000 years or whatever, maybe it comes easier than the tap, tap, tap part.
Yeah,
when you're
so
thinking.
congratulations. If you think about it today, just write something in handwriting, just to do it in cursive and to keep in practice of that. I'll tell you a quick story. My sister said that she had given some little gifts to her grandchildren. These were step-grandchildren, and they couldn't read her writing. And my sister has beautiful, elegant, almost perfect cursive writing. It's perfect. And then she figured, they never learned. That's why they couldn't read. So that's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. So I'm hoping maybe this will be incentive for them to learn. All right, so anything else? Do any birthdays or anything to take care of? Your grandpa's birthday is going to be next week, huh? My brother, yeah. No birthdays?
No.
Well, just for the month of, we had a great former AZGOP chairman, Robert Graham. His birthday was in this January.
Oh.
Happy birthday, Robert Graham.
Happy
And,
birthday.
and I'm a martial artist myself, and I know that you're beating up all the guys on the planet. So go, Chairman, go. And happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Robert Graham. He needs to come and do the show here. We haven't had him in a
Great,
long time.
great gentleman.
His daughter Faith came in and did that. So we'll
Yeah,
have to
she's
have that.
been
She's doing
a
good.
supporter of ours, and we are a supporter of hers.
Awesome.
Yes, and we got everybody on Facebook and Messenger, and we're
Right.
keeping up with everyone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna talk to our good friend Clyde right now, and then later on in the show, we do promise we have our whole enchiladas and cocotazos, which don't pay attention, kind of messed up on that list there.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll clear that up when we get to it. So, for those of you, if you watch our show, we have on Rev from time to time, and he's always a great guest, and so much going on. But first, primarily, I would love to talk about the E-Pod. Well, first, go ahead and tell the audience, in case somebody's tuning in, they don't know too much about you. Give them your little eye story.
Oh, certainly. 25 years ago, the woman whose picture is outside, Dodie London, was the Arizona State Chairman from 1993 to 1997. In 1995, she came to some of us who were of color, Latins, Asians, American Africans, or African Americans, and talked about the Big Tent theory. The idea that we should expand the party, that it should be presented as a gift to each and every individual who might want to be part of the party, and charged us with the task of going to the African American community and spreading our message, which we have basically done for the last 25 years. In order to enhance that message, about 8 years ago, we discovered it was the 150th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation. No one seemed to know about it. No one seemed to care about it. We cared about it, and we knew about it. We knew that President Abraham Lincoln had done something that resonated throughout the world. It wasn't just the idea of freeing some slaves. It was fulfilling the promise of the Constitution. So we began to say that maybe we should have an observance of that particular day. We started doing it on January 1st because it was written in 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation. We've moved it up to February because that's Black History Month. And we found that there's an awful lot of Black history from the Democrat point of view and not as much history from the Republican point of view. Well, as we were the people who had the foundation of freedom, freeing the slaves, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, we just had the March for Life, we said we need to begin to let people know what we're up to. So this has become an official holiday. It's an official governor's proclamation that we always get every year, and we're doing it for the 8th year. But for the first time, we are actually.
8th year, Ray?
This is, I mean, where does the time go, right? I'm trying to say every year, who wants to do this? Who wants to do this? Always ends up being us, and we're more than proud and happy to do that and have everyone share with us in this particular time. As I mentioned, we have been talking the last 48 hours or so about perhaps moving the venue. We've always done it for the last 7 years at East Lake Park. That's a historical park. It's so historical, they have a civil rights site there. And on that civil rights site, they have every person just about that's contributed to the civil rights, human rights struggle, but the progenitor, Abraham Lincoln. President Abraham Lincoln is not there. That was one of the issues that we had. Throughout our time with East Lake Park, we've had an up and down relationship. This time they're saying we have to be outside. We can't be out inside because they're playing basketball. Not tournament basketball, but kids playing basketball. Well, we can respect that. But we can also respect that there are other places that we believe that we can take this, and we are thinking actually about the East Valley. And we're thinking about perhaps moving it from place to place and having
That's
the
not a bad
opportunity
idea.
for folks to actually see it. If we take it to the whole East Valley, we take up Mesa, Chandler, South Phoenix, Gilbert. I was out to Chandler for the Chandler Diversity Days the other day. I had no idea. It rivals Phoenix's Martin Luther King celebration.
Really?
Oh, I mean, you should have been out there with your camera. I took a few pictures, but I was so impressed with what they're doing. I thought, this might be a place to make a
Who
statement.
puts that on?
It's Phoenix, not Phoenix Parks and Recreation, but some Parks and Recreation, Chandler, because I wanted to know about having ARC there next year. I said, well, we should have a table. We should be giving our message out. There were thousands of people literally there, and the diversity of the group was unbelievable. I mean, Farhana and folks have been doing a great job getting people together in AZGOP, Asian, but there's a significant amount of Asian population out there that I did not know. When I was stationed at Williams Air Force Base, we used to go through there. There were just 2 stoplights. So we're really excited. But everyone, save the date. The date will be February 29th this year. It only comes once every 4 years, so we chose a leap day to do something special. And within the next 48 hours or 72 hours after I have a chance to talk to Dr. Ward, you know, we always partner with AZGOP and other folks. I mean, if that works for everyone, and we hope that it does, and I need to tell us some confidential information also about what we're up to, I would just be more than happy. I've been out to that Chandler area. I lived out in that area for a while. I think it would be a great opportunity to showcase Republican values and virtues in a place that's even more Republican,
But are you saying this one, you already have it scheduled for Eastlake, or are you saying possibly?
Well,
you could
we're
move it?
at this very moment, we're holding Eastlake.
Oh,
We are holding Chandler Public Library. We're going to make a decision as to one or the other, or perhaps another venue. I want to talk once more to Eastlake and see if there's a possibility we could get inside. That might work a little better for us. Now, we were outside last time. It worked, and it sort of didn't
If
work.
the weather's good, it's okay.
There you go. And that's the thing. You roll the bones every day, every time you do that. And we've been fortunate. We had to change it from January the 1st because people said it was too cold to be outside, and we're always outside then. So we go, let's go inside. Now they're saying we can't be inside. So we're gonna be like Jesus and Mary looking for the inn, but we're gonna find
This looks
somebody
like
that
it's
takes us in.
having you look at new venues, so maybe out of that it'll work out good.
Yeah.
To do it somewhere different every year, I kind of like that
Yeah,
because
that's a good idea.
it's somewhere and people
Well,
have more opportunity to see it.
Is that with a
The
museum?
fans, huh?
Is that with a museum and the library? Or
Chandler Public Library, there's a museum, a community center, the big field
Yes.
where they had Chandler Diversity Days. It's quite a little, it's easy to find, I think, now with the new 202 and 101, so it's not hard to get to.
Yeah, we
It's
have
within
a-
20 minutes of South Phoenix, so if anybody feels like they want to come over, we'll invite different people. I was looking for a small, more intimate event with us this year, and once again, I know that Dr. Ward is so busy getting ready for the chairman's dinner. I expect to hear something from her and her people after that. We'll actually know, but we're definitely locked in on that day for now. We
Save
think
the
it's
date,
great. Yeah,
and
save
we
that
will
date.
keep you posted, and
As
we'll
the
try to.
venue.
You also have a site, your ARC site, right?
We have an ARC Facebook site. We have a Clyde Bowen site. It'll be on that information, on events. Those of you who are on our list, we'll definitely be contacting folks and telling them what the new venue is and what we've decided to do. But we're extremely excited. Like you say, 8 years. They thought it would never last. When we first did it, we did it with 6 weeks from the time that we started. We put it together. And we think it's something that we could actually show to other cities. We've had people say, we should do this in our city.
It should be
We
celebrated.
get tired of just
You're right.
Juneteenth. That's a Democrat thing. That's their thing, sort of. And that thing came from our thing. So there would be no Juneteenth or any of those sorts of things if it wasn't for our event, the Emancipation Proclamation. Those who know that Martin Luther King stood on the shoulders of President Abraham Lincoln. And he said, what about the promise that you made? Where is that promise? That's why he stood in the shadow. And we still pursue that to this day, which will be something else that I'll mention at the end of our, because I have a personal endorsement for someone and I wanted to just mention.
Nice. Do you have some of the guest speakers? Can you tell us who's going to be there? We should look forward to listening to.
I would say
Besides, of course,
I
yourself.
would say the usual suspects with myself, of course, and Dr. C.T. Wright, and we've always had Representative Lawrence And we're adding people right now. Oh, we have the Buffalo Soldiers. We didn't have the Buffalo Soldiers last year. We've got the Buffalo Soldiers, and we've switched from the ladies and gentlemen of the regiment to local Buffalo Soldiers group that we're really
Do you know what Buffalo
enthusiastic
Soldiers
about.
are, Sarah? Okay, educate Sarah on the Buffalo Soldiers.
Let me educate Sarah
And
the rest
the
of you
audience, yeah.
on the Buffalo Soldiers. Okay, back in the day when we were fighting the Apaches and fighting the Mexican population in Mexico for land, they put a bunch of black soldiers who had come from the Civil War, guys who wanted to have freedom, guys who were mostly all Republicans, and they put a couple of groups of them, one I believe in Kansas and one in Arizona. Fort Huachuca, Arizona is actually the home of the Black Buffalo Soldiers. They fought valiantly. They have a bunch of Medal of Honors, and those of us, like myself, who are veterans and who are military, still have that little bit of warrior inside of us, appreciate the Buffalo Soldiers. So last year we weren't able to get them for our event, and heretofore we had always had participation from the Buffalo Soldiers because they're a local kind of a legend. Matter of fact, when I was at the Biltmore a couple of weeks ago, I saw the ladies and gentlemen of the regiment. That's another group. So there are a couple of groups of Buffalo Soldiers, and there's one group called reenactors who actually reenact what the Buffalo Soldiers did. I believe without the Buffalo Soldiers, we might not have an Arizona. These guys were brave, and no one could seem to really be the equal of the Apache Indian Nation, and they proved able to settle the land and make Arizona what it is today. So we appreciate the soldiers, we appreciate the veterans.
That's going to
who
be
they are.
awesome.
So they're going to definitely be there, and then we're looking at some of the other groups we've had in the past, perhaps Ballet Folklorico, who people really appreciate the children from the Ballet Folklorico Institute. And everyone should know, of course, we do this because we are actually all about the country, but we're more about the children because we know they're our future. So we present this time in 2020 for the children, and our theme will be Unity 2020. We think the country needs to be united. We think the Republican Party needs to be united. And can I say one quick thing?
Absolutely.
Okay, I've been hearing every time we have an election, I get to hear this, the rhino thing. Rhino. R-H-I-N-O, Republican Humans in Name Only, or R-I-N-O, Republicans in Name Only. And we go through this, are you pure enough to be a Republican? And I want to say two things about that, from myself and from the ARC. Number one is we believe in the Ronald Reagan rule of 80%. If you believe 80% of what I believe during an election year, you're my guy, you're my gal. And the other part of it is, number one, I think it's important for us to remember, and I hung out a sign on my Facebook, all votes greatly appreciated, okay? This is a time where Donald Trump is going to need every single vote. Some of you are not able to hang around with the Democrats the way that I do. But I have to tell you, you want to talk crusade? It's a crusade. Every day I see, oh, they don't like him. Oh, they hate him. They've hated him since first day. That's true. With a passion. We need to match that passion with our passion.
I like that challenge.
That's the only way we're going to win. One more thing about rhinos, okay? We have rhinos, whatever that means. The Democrats have dinos. Whatever that means. But you know what Democrats call their dinos? They call them voters. V-O-T-E-R-S.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say about that. Wrestle with this whole idea of getting souls to the polls, what they call it. What I would say at this particular time, if someone is willing to vote for us, if someone is willing to stand up for us, if someone is willing to go to the mat for us, if someone is willing to give everything for us, I say we should give them a look, which is why I end with my personal endorsement for first vice chairman of the Arizona GOP, a gentleman named Raphael Ahmed. I've worked with Raphael for the last 7 years. You work with a guy for 7 years, you think you know him, right? Well, I think I do. I'm a military man, he's a military man. We've worked on ARC, we've worked on EPOD, we've worked on AZGOP ASEAN. The man's taken the oath, 7 or 8 times for this, for that, for everything. and I hear this rhino conversation. I hear this religious conversation. Well, as a reverend, ordained reverend, I'm not even going to mention that because the Constitution makes it very clear. And I think what is even clearer is if you've hung around Fahana and Raphael for the last 7 years or so, you see a dedication that I wish other people throwing rocks at them could match sometimes. I really do. So I have come out, and I don't personally endorse a lot of times, and it's not an ARC endorsement, it's just a Clyde Bowen feeling from hanging out with Raphael Ahmed that this party needs quality people. I've never been that guy to say, oh, the woman or the black one or this one or that one. I'm the first one to say, let's put a qualified person. And I believe he's the best qualified, and I know who else is running. I know about the other guys. I have nothing but love and respect for the field. But I want everyone to know that myself, I, and a Representative Walt Blackman, 110% behind Raphael Ahmed and our respect to his wife, Fahana.
All right, and
Okay.
I do not endorse anyone because I'm not allowed to, because I'm the secretary of LD 27. So that is directly from Reverend Clyde Bowen.
To all me, ladies and gentlemen.
And, you know, speaking of that, what we're going to be doing Saturday is we have our Arizona Republican State meeting.
Yes.
And that's what he's talking about, because we're going to be electing some officers. And I'm a state committeeman. I presume that you are too.
I am not a state committeeman. I have gone every year on behalf of just kind of the ARC, and I've heard that this year, unless you are a state committeeman, you cannot be allowed on the premises, which is something that I would like to double check because I've heard that, and I said, well,
you
I'm.
can't do that.
I think you can, you can go outside because that's where
You
all the
can't
booths
be, you can't be where all the state delegates are seated. You'll be in
Yeah.
the guest area, and you can walk the corridors, of course, and you'll have a section in the guest area. But not being able on the premises, that's unheard of.
Okay,
Because
that's what I.
You're a Republican,
Mm-hmm.
and any Republican that's a voter, as a registered voter, can attend either the convention as a county or the state. But when you're inside the building, they have seating for guests, and they have seating for delegates, state delegates. You may not. They may restrict you from going and sitting down where the state delegates are sitting, because they're all like LD 19 has a section, LD 27 has a section. All the LDs have sections, and all the counties have sections. They may restrict visitors to a visitor section, which that's okay because you're not a voting member, or, and it's like any convention, but restricting you, period, I've never heard of that.
No. The precedent to that was very unsettling when they say that you don't get to go in. I'm like, we fought really hard so we can be part of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so whoever said that, we won't take that because I was about to not be there, and I was like,
No.
I've gone every year kind of as an observer, and in fact, Johnny, my lovely wife, and myself have pursued to become PCs and state committeemen at one time or the other. And we've had some issues with paperwork, this, that, and then, life happens while you're busy making plans. So we didn't do it, but certainly we are always interested.
Yeah, because I'm not a state committeeman no longer. I'm a committeeman,
Right.
but not a state
You're a
committeeman.
precinct committeeman.
PC, yeah, and we
So,
were going to be LD.
But I'm
28.
allowed in the building. I'm allowed walking around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not allowed to go to where our state committeemen are sitting. In the past, you can walk in there
In the
if they have.
credentialed area.
Yeah, now they have credential areas. I understand that.
Well,
But
sure.
the visitors area, you're right there. You're watching the whole.
So you
thing.
can observe the process.
Oh yes.
That was what was that.
I
That's
had-
in our mission statement. Even that we love to observe the
I've
process.
never
We
heard-
encourage others to watch the process.
Yeah, I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
Not allowing Republicans as visitors in. Now, if they don't, then that's something new, and I'll find out about it.
Okay, well, I'm looking into it. I'm looking forward to observing the process again, and I know it's very important for folks. And,
Are you going to be at the chairman's dinner?
I am not going to be at the chairman's dinner. I'm actually going to have to miss that for the first time in a while. We're doing some other things, and we've had some issues. You call yourself semi-retired, and that means that you have less money coming in, and then you imagine looking in the mirror that you can take care of business because you have so much less coming in. So we've been establishing a cash flow. So some of what I'll be doing tomorrow night will be continuing that quest.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Gotta do what you gotta do. So we want to keep the lights on, and we want to be able to be great doobies around the Republican Party. Like I said, 25 years ago, I got into this party and I wanted to be a Republican, and I believed in personal responsibility and all the things that I saw, and I did a video why I am a Republican. And after my family threw me out of the house, and after my godbrother,
You were a Democrat before?
I was nothing before.
You were nothing.
Well, no, I was not. I was
Registered.
government issue is what I was. I was registered a Republican, but I wasn't active in the party. And our chairman emeritus, Fred Taylor, got me involved because I knew how to do events, and he was doing an event at a church, and we became friends. And next thing you know, I was his vice chairman. 2006, I became chairman. I'm the one that coined the term, wake up, get up, stand up for America. Now everybody talks about being woke, but you know, I was talking about waking you up in
You were awake
2000.
a long time ago.
I was awake a long time ago as what was going on, right? I was blessed being a political science major, I suppose. And what do you guys think about the impeachment, since it's the big elephant in the room?
It's a lot of
Proceedings.
regurgitation of what happened in the House. It's a nothing burger, and I can't wait till Saturday and Sunday when the Republicans get their chance to get up. They're gonna just chastise Schiff and Nadler and Schumer, and it's gonna be interesting to see. They're gonna get more viewers watching the weekend and Sunday and Monday, the days that the Republicans get their days to rebuttal, and it's going to be interesting. Right now, the ratings are so low; people are sick and tired of this regurgitation.
Every time I turn it on, that was my. I agree with you 110%. When I turn it on and they're saying the same thing, and I'm like, is this like a replay, a rerun? Or, no, it's fresh, but it's not fresh. It's what you said last week, last month. Ever since this thing has gone down, well, I just can't wait to get on with the country's real business.
Exactly.
I mean, we're making our enemies day. We're making their day. I was stationed in Norway for 4 years, right on the border of Russia, and had a top secret clearance with the embassy. I had a special assignment, and knew that lots and lots of stuff were going on. Man, we cannot afford to waste time, because they're not wasting time. They're not wasting their time on this. They're wasting time on taking us out, and we have to be extremely careful. So boring, but like you said, over the weekend. But once again, the process, it's like watching paint dry. But if you want to know how the house goes up, you gotta maybe sit there and watch the paint dry to understand what's happening.
And what gets me is the fake media, the news media, is making a big deal about what the Democrats are saying and acting like it's a done deal, and the Republicans should turn against our president. Watch what happens in the weekend. Watch the response, and they're just going to put them in their place, and then it's going to be more regurgitation afterwards, because the Democrats get to come back and submit questions, and it'll be a little fiasco. People are closing it out. I closed it out. I only watch the headline news on it.
Well, it's not really about us. I think it's what a lot of people are saying. I can't bring this to anybody who can't pay their bills. Somebody's working 2-3 jobs, still can't make it. Crime, drugs, you name it, measles, whatever. I mean, real life is intruding upon this thing once again, and I think that's what the real issue is. We just can't afford this. I mean, the president will be found not guilty because he's not guilty, and then we can go on. But they have to stand. They have to. I was telling Johnny, my wife, I said, well, you know, I guess we are getting old. We've seen 3 impeachments in our lifetime. You know, if we live to be 200 from like 1776 to you know, we wouldn't have seen one. But in the last years that we've been on this planet, and does that mean we're doing something right, or does it mean we're doing something wrong? I don't know, but it's fascinating to me. I mean, I've been a political kind of a person without knowing it, and to see the process itself being played out, and how they rewrite the rules every time, and how they pretend that it's about us. And I don't even feel like it's about us in a way. I feel like it's about them. It's just one side against the other side, and they're fighting it out and duking it out, and everybody's got a book and everybody's got a movie, and our president's trying to do his job, and they're just
well, the
bogging
past
us down.
impeachments, you had Nixon, and I thought there was a lot of dishonesty going on with the Nixon administration, hiding and lying about it, and the tapes coming out and revealing what really happened in the breaking in of the Democratic headquarters at the hotel,
Watergate.
the Watergate Hotel. That was a president that had lied to us, and he might have did it because of the protests that were going out there and people were protesting. A lot of things were happening at the time, but that was interesting because it was a crime. A crime had been committed, several crimes. Then the Clinton impeachment trial, he lied to us. He straight out lied to us that he didn't have sexual relations with that girl. Then he said Monica Lewinsky.
Mm-hmm.
But it was an intern in his office, and he was doing things while he was talking to Anwar Sadat on the phone. You know, it's like, that's why.
Thanks for the
visual.
picture. Thanks for the picture.
Lights on my face, and you read my mind.
Right.
Well, that's
I don't want to relive that again. You
Well,
know.
that's why the Clinton impeachment drew the ire of the Republicans, and the Democrats came to his defense. It's not the same that's happening right now. Trump did not violate no law. Trump used executive privilege, and he was on a phone with another leader of another country, which all the presidents have done. Yet somebody overheard him say something, and they've been trying to get our president since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen. It's going to make the Democrats look really bad, and our president's going to win. Trump 2020, he's going to keep America
Trump
great.
2020. And you've seen already that Maxine Waters, she's already said, I think she doesn't care what happens. If he totally is vindicated and it's all that, she'll still keep on, all I hear when I see her face, all I hear is impeach 45.
Impeach
That's
45.
what I hear.
Well,
That's what I
everybody's
hear, because
that's the
that's
issue.
her
Is
goal.
that it won't move the needle because her constituents, that's what they want to hear her say,
Right.
and our constituents, that's what we want to hear our constituents say. So when you look at moving the needle and you say, well, after this is all over, it's not going to move the needle one bit. Those of us who know. Those of us who don't know will not be persuaded, and those of us who are ignorant, Democrats, will never come around to this point of view. And if you don't believe me, just see my video, Why I'm a Republican, and you will know the history of the party, the Democrat Party, what they've done to African Americans. I have a list of all these Black American inventors that we put out for February. We always do it. We put it out every year. The automatic transmission, ice cream, the air conditioner, the cell phone. You guys want to know what's going on. And every year we try to let people know that everyone contributes to this country. We need to have the truth about everyone contributing. I grew up, some guy, George Washington Carver, invented peanut butter, right? And I'm like, well, the peanut was right there. That's not all that much. But when I heard about the air conditioner, ice cream, the ice cream scooper, the fire extinguisher, the fountain pen, the automatic transmission, the rotary engine, the space shuttle, the
Automatic
lawnmower.
transmission, that's very important.
And the automatic transmission, right, because we'd all be trying to text and shift at the same time. But now thank God for the auto transmission, because I have a friend with a 5-speed, and she texts and she drives and she shifts. And I'm like, I can barely drive with 2 hands on the wheel, let alone do all that and downshifting and upshifting. Even though I know how to do a shift, I just can't do all those things together. God bless the children. They seem to be able to multitask.
I just want to say that, you know what, Super Sarah, she can drive a stick.
Ah,
That's good.
There you go.
That's
That's
because a lot of people can't. I think I could if I really had to, but I haven't driven one in ages.
Mhm.
But I was impressed that she drives one.
Yeah, I drove them in the service. We had autos. We had the others. Well, my first car was a manual transmission. Good God, 3 on the deal. That's how old it
At least
was.
be in the steering
I drove a 1953 Pontiac, and I drove it. I got it in 1961, and I drove it from Boston to California, and I drove it all around California.
Wow.
Yeah, I drove it. I've driven across the United States twice.
That is awesome.
Not compared to the 5 times I walked from Phoenix to Tucson. For children, I did that one time. So
You got a couple
we did
of
walks, yeah.
From
Books in
Phoenix to
you.
Tucson?
I used to be
That's
with a group called Phoenix Youth at Risk. Our director was blind. It's called New Pathways for Youth. I was a gang leader and a gang kid and a bad kid and a hoodlum and a thug, and that's a quote from my headmaster. So when I saw the opportunity to help this group out, I helped them out, and they said, you know, when I got on staff, we wanted to have something to call attention to the plight of Arizona children. Our director was blind, and so we decided, let's walk from Phoenix to Tucson. Let's take 7 days. Let's get a motor home. Let's get everybody involved. And we'll go out, and instead of his dog, his guide dog, I'll be his guide dog. So I was his point, and he took and we walked 120 miles. And we did it 5 times. And we were walking down to Phoenix. We were walking to Tucson, and we were like, that's one way to do it, but wouldn't it be better to drive to Tucson and walk back to Phoenix where we could have a big celebration? So after about the 3rd one, we finally got it right. But we did it 5 times. We raised a lot of money, raised a lot of consciousness. Mitch Aiken would take folks out, and he would take the reporters out, and he would show them how to cross the street when you're blind. So we had a lot of consciousness. We did a lot for children, did a lot for the blind. I volunteered for 25 years with the blind. Well, Sun Sounds, as you know. Sun Sounds radio reading service for the print handicapped. That was us.
For the print disabled.
Print disabled, right. And you were part of that. And then I did my talk show. So I'm looking forward to my podcast, revving it up with the Revs.
You know, he provides his own segues to do that. So you've got a podcast. I want you to talk about your podcast, and then we'll have some time to do our whole enchiladas and cocotazos. So have you started your podcast already?
No, we're putting it together because I want to get it right. And I've been doing a lot of information. I've been doing a lot of writing. I've been getting complaints coming to bed at 4 a.m. in the morning. It's 4 a.m. in the morning. I said, that's what writers do. I said, sometimes we wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning and have something to say. So I've been writing because I want to write. I'm working on a book called When We Were Republicans. I want to talk about the black population, and I think they did better as a population when they were Republicans. For most of American history, most of the African Americans, as they call themselves, or American Africans, as I would like to call them, have been registered Republicans. A couple of things happened, and that changed. I'm looking to change it back. I'm looking, well, even now, I can extend the invitation. All Democrats, all black Democrats, especially, come back. Come back to your party. Just remember, you used to be Republican. All these inventions, all these great things that were done. Tulsa, Oklahoma, the black millionaires enclave in Oklahoma that was destroyed. Our wealth, all when we were Republicans. I'm just asking you, take another look. You'll be surprised. We're up to a lot of good things, and you need to find out what they are.
Clyde, do you know what the percentage right now of the black Americans or African Americans are Republicans? Do you happen to know that?
It's probably low double digits, I would say. We have been making progress with President Trump. 1 step forward, 2 steps back a lot of times. The tremendous misinformation and disinformation and propaganda put out by the Democrat regarding the Republicans, black Republicans, and how we feel about Republicans. I can give you a good example. We were talking about AZGOP Chairman Robert Graham went down to Bethesda Community Baptist Church and was able to speak. But while I was down there, we spent most of our time trying to tell people the truth. No, everyone should know, President Lincoln did not own slaves. Number 2, black folks, the Tea Party does not hate you. There is such a thing known as politics, and there are certain people in certain parties who don't like a lot of people in a lot of parties. So I don't think it's every single human being. These are the kinds of things I have had to tell Democrats. And so if we do anything, we always talk about education. Educating Democrats should be one of our goals. Educating Republicans should be even a bigger goal, because that's the other reason we do Emancipation Proclamation. So Republicans are reminded who they are and what they did. And I know it's 2020, but back in the day and throughout the day, and when you look at the strides that are made in this country, we should be standing up, taking a bow, not letting the Democrats steal our thunder on anything. As far as I can tell, there is very little that they have done but continue to enslave the minds and spirits of Americans.
Even Martin Luther King was a Republican.
Yes, Martin Luther King, and I wanted to start out the year right. So I started out with the first commandment, honor your mother and father, right? I thought we abuse that, don't we? And it came out of some situations in my family with my grandchild. So I said, let's start out with honor your mother and father. So I started with Martin Luther King Sr. If you look up Martin Luther King Sr. on Wikipedia, it will tell you his political affiliation, Republican. He put those into...
Did you hear that, America? Republican. Martin Luther King Sr., I repeat. Okay.
Amen. And so I put that on Facebook. I gave people out some information, got some nice words back from folks for doing that. And I thought, well, we always talk about the guys. Let's talk about Martin Luther King's mom. I love my mother. So I wanted to do that. I did not know. Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King's mom was slain, killed, shot 6 years after he was shot. She was in church. That's exactly why I asked you folks to go to our Facebook and archive. I did not know that.
Wow.
I was out of the country when he got shot in Norway. When I came back, I didn't pay much attention. I was not political per se. I don't remember. I asked my wife. We had been together like 5 or 6 years already. I said, how did we miss that? You know, that happened. But everyone I talked to said they didn't know it either. She was playing the organ, Sunday service. Some guy came in and gunned her down.
Why?
That his color would make any difference to anybody. He did happen to be a black guy, and he happened to be angry at Christians or something. They're not really sure, of course, when these things happen. But I did not know that. So to make a long story short, so I put that all on Facebook, and then I talked about Martin Luther King, and I have a dream speech, his speech, that his dream and what it meant. And a lot of people hear it or don't hear it, but they have no idea what the significance of what he was trying to do. Tom Horton, our Attorney General, walked in that. He's Canadian. His father took him all the way from Canada to Washington, D.C. to be part of that in 1963. He's one of the few people. He and I walked in the 50th anniversary here in Phoenix, and he told me about that. I said, man, I am so honored, right, to be with somebody who actually saw Dr. Martin Luther King. I was the first black person of color in Oslo, Norway. First person of color. I got there 2 years after Dr. King got his Nobel Peace Prize.
Isn't Coretta King his sister or no?
Coretta Scott King is his wife, and that's who Dr. Wright went to school with.
Yeah,
Dr. Wright went to school with
she's
Coretta Scott
a
King.
Republican too.
Yes, yeah. I mean, quite a few people. Well,
But they make the students think that Martin Luther King was a Democrat.
Yeah, they conveniently don't mention.
On top of, and even worse than that, I just found out something that I already knew, and they finally released it to people. It's what I've been trying to tell the party. They discovered the majority of black Americans are moderate or conservative. They're not liberal. Let me say it one more time for the camera. They are not liberal. They are moderate or conservative. When you go after a black Democrat, go after from that point of view,
like
not from the free
like the
stuff that we always throwing at people. You know, I know you're getting free stuff from them. I know you're on welfare. I know you yada yada got food. No, not at all. So we need to understand that fact. They have the same kinds of ideals that I have. When we did Juneteenth, we had black Democrats and black Republicans walk up to us and tell us. The black Democrats said, well, hey, we're pro-life, but you don't want us. I said, au contraire, we certainly do. Matter of fact, I got a comeback campaign. I want y'all to come on back because you believe what we believe. You believe in family. Your families are shattered. You believe in no drugs. Drugs throughout your community. Who wants to get their kid hit in the head? You don't, but you got crime throughout your community. I don't understand why we don't put people of the Republican persuasion into people to run for office in places like South Chicago. You mentioned Nixon. Whatever happened to law and order? I thought we were the law and order party. I thought we might be really cool to advance some law and order in your neighborhood if you elect me. So
we'll
that's
see.
where we're coming.
But
Now,
you
we
see,
got away from the podcast though.
Yes,
When is
but
it going to happen?
it's
And
going.
where?
We're going to be podcasting. I would say within the next month or so.
And
To-
will it be
to-
on your Facebook site or on a radio station?
Well, we're
or-
putting that all together because I've been invited to actually go on radio stations like your friend,
So
our
maybe
friend James Harris. So I'm just not sure. We're negotiating. What we want to do and need to do now is we want to do a perfect, as the president would say, a perfect Emancipation Proclamation Observance Day. Then after that, we'll start revving it up with the Revs, which is for now the name of the podcast.
Oh, you're my, you know, who came up with that name, remember?
Yes, yes. And I know I have to send you a check every month or
No
but
problem.
anyway, exactly.
problem.
But I
I've
like
missed
that,
it.
and that's the working term
I've
right
missed
now.
that show.
Yes.
I really have, and as you can see already, because we're like down to our last 9 minutes.
Well,
But the Rev is a great speaker, and so when he does start his podcast, we'll keep you posted on that.
Oh,
And,
certainly,
it's-
everyone will be
It's going to be
invited.
great. Anything else before we go to the whole enchiladas and the cocotazos?
Oh, certainly. Just that I mentioned, Black History Month is coming up, and we will be putting Black History inventors and people of color. We think somebody had the nerve to complain, we don't have a month. Okay, so we get the shortest month of the year, right? Well, this year we get another extra day. I mean, we're like, hey, but we get February, right? Okay, officially, you can hear it from Reverend Clyde Bowen. The other 11 months can be White History Month, okay? You have my permission to say anything you want to say about anybody you want to say. We have freedom of speech, and if you begrudge me my little 29 days after us building the United States of America, I extend to you the rest of the time. I am yours. You have my ear for all the contributions that we see, that we were told that only one group of people did. Now we're finding out maybe there were a few more.
You know what you ought to do
So
with this
that part.
list? I think, and maybe you've already done that, but
Mhm.
every day during
Don't say it. Don't say it.
February-
Don't say it. Don't say it. We are.
You're already doing it. You're already
You know.
gonna
You
do
know I'm out. Yes.
You're already gonna
We
do
already got the idea.
Every day.
I'd say
I
every
went.
day, right? And so Johnny goes, well, you know, we got 33 names. There's only 29 days. I said, yeah, life is like
You
that.
can double up. You can
Okay,
double up. That's
I'll
no
end
problem.
with this. Then you guys are going your thing. End sex trafficking. January is sex trafficking month. When I was a stand-up comedian, I would say that a lot of my acquaintances and some of my best acquaintances were pimps and prostitutes. So I'm actually an expert in sex trafficking. And trafficking, human trafficking
that didn't
is not
sound
good.
good.
Well,
But you know what
well,
he's talking
we
about.
had. Let me
Dating-
exactly.
An
We had
end to
elder.
sex
We were the only ones at Juneteenth that had Elder Abuse Day. Right? People came up and said, "Is this the day to abuse elders?" So you were exactly right. I want to end trafficking. I'm against it. I simply mean to say that I know more than the average person knows about it because of my experience with people going back to when I was a kid in Roxbury and I lived across the street from a brothel. So I know some things about things.
You have, like I say, you got 2 or 3 books to write.
Amen, amen. But I'm starting with
You better
when we were Republicans, which is the other part. So thank you so much for this time. Thanks for what you guys are doing.
You're so welcome. Thank you for everything you do. And keep hanging around because we've got a few minutes and we'd like to go
Sure.
kind of through the whole enchiladas and the
Yes.
cocotazos. George, tell us what a cocotazos is.
Cocotazo is when you say something dumb and your parent comes behind you and just kind of taps you in your head. That's a cocotazo because it's hitting your noggin right here. And the Mexicans, it's the chanclazo. They throw a chancla at you when you say something stupid.
So, a chancla, that can be, like an old shoe, or it can be your flip-flop or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's
and
what we call it,
grandmas
cocotazos.
and moms were pretty good at throwing that across the room.
What'd your mom do if you acted up?
My wife and I have the same experience. We've been slapped out of chairs. Out of you find yourself going through the air and then you feel the linoleum on the floor. That's our experience. And then Johnny and I bonded. We're like, yo, you too.
And then
So yeah,
I
we live
always-
in rough neighborhoods maybe.
I always like to joke because I never experienced that, but we didn't need that in my house because my dad would just he'd look at his belt or he'd get the belt like that. He was a very serious man and I took him serious and didn't want that whipping that my brothers and sisters got, so I was a good kid for the most part.
So one quick thing, and George, really quick. For you out there that I always hear talking about corporal punishment's good, give him a little slap. Okay, I was beaten. with a coat hanger, that
That's
razor
different.
belt.
Beating and spanking is different.
Well, go get the switch. Turns into his problems, turns into my problems. Oh yeah, little SWAT here and there. Yeah, in the ghetto, no. Little SWAT don't do nothing. Just made me even meaner and made me swat people a little harder. So when you get to the
You
razor
didn't have
belt,
a
the
little
switch,
SWAT, though,
when
SWAT
you've been
damage.
beaten with a curtain rod, when you've been beaten with a razor strap. And my story is not a story I'm proud to tell people. I'm just proud to tell people that in areas in the inner city, these things are still being shown to be okay. I just want to say it's not okay. It's not okay to abuse anyone. It's not okay to abuse anyone, and I don't believe you need to, like you said. You don't need to give somebody a little slap on the tail if you can sit and talk with them, because that will turn into what I turned into. A lot of people wouldn't believe the person that I turned into because of the abuse that I suffered
You had
and the abuse that my cousin suffered and people that I know that suffered. And I'm one of those kids that had a babysitter who would lock them in the closet and leave for 4 or 5 hours and then come back and threaten me if I told anybody. Well, I did tell somebody. This happened when I was 8, and I told somebody when I was 27 what happened.
Good.
Yeah, when I was 27, I was finally able to tell what happened to me and why sometimes I seem strange to others. But then other times, it helped me to do a lot of things that I was able to create in the dark when I was there. So sometimes you can take lemons, make lemonade out of
You
it.
had.
So let's not abuse our children and pretend
No,
it's something
And we're
else.
not saying
is
that
for
by
them.
no means. We're
No,
saying
and that's
that.
not abusing and call it something else either, you know, because we, like George Carlin, one of my comedian friends used to say, you know, we play with the words. Now collateral damage, I mean a bunch of babies and stuff lined up dead outside, you know. So I'm saying with the word, for me, in my experience, and talking specifically to the folks who still think in our culture, it's okay to hit your children and say it's for their own good. It's never for anyone's good that you hit them. As a hitter, I can tell you that, and one who received, I can tell you that too.
So he's an expert in ending sex trafficking and also in abuse as well. So this guy knows a lot of stuff, right?
Hey,
But as you
It's
say,
America.
the Cocotas is like, what are you doing? It's one of those
Right.
big on the top of the head. We're not whipping anybody. We're
right?
not
Simply,
doing anything
it's
like that,
simply
or beating.
right. That's
Okay?
a different.
Got that straight? All right,
Right.
good. We got 2 minutes now, so I'm going to go real quick through the Cocotazos. We want to give a Cocotazo nomination to, there was a Florida man, and he stabbed his Trump-loving boss, and he killed him. That happened in Florida. The other Cocotazo is Wanda Vasquez in Puerto Rico. They've been finding some hidden supplies, George, huh? Not a good thing. Horrible thing. And our president was saying that. The president was saying, you know, they're not getting their supplies. Well, they're discovering, yeah, that actually is what happened.
We're locked up in warehouses.
So those are the Cocotazo nominees. And since we've got a little bit of time, I'm going to go through the whole enchiladas. And one is, this just happened. There was a dad who confronted Elizabeth Warren, who's running for president on the D side. And she's talking about, we're going to, pay off the student loans. And he says, I worked 2 shifts, worked really hard, so I could pay my daughter's student loans. And are you going to pay me back? Are you going to give me my money back? Is that really fair? To me? So I want to give him a whole enchilada for bringing that up. She kind of said, no, of course not. And she walked away from it. Another whole enchilada, I don't like to give it to a Democrat, but Democrat, also another presidential candidate, Tulsi Gabbard, she's suing Hillary for $50 million because Hillary's saying that Russia's like, that Russia likes Tulsi Gabbard. His opener. And then, of course, I want to give my good friend Tatiana Peña. She turned in her signatures, and she's officially a candidate for LD27. She's running as Republican. She's a Latina. She's a fantastic candidate. We're going to have her on next Thursday. In fact, you get to meet her firsthand. Wow. And then, of course, our last whole enchilada nomination is POTUS, President of the United States. He's going to be the first president to attend the March for Life in person. Don't you think that's a great one?
Yes,
I have to give
that just
one,
jumps out.
Yeah.
Enchilada too, and I hate to do it, but Elizabeth Warren, for confronting Bernie Sanders on the stage of the debates when she said, "You lied about me," right in his face, and he was like caught by surprise.
But he did lie.
He did, but he was like he didn't
I mean,
expect that. So it was kind of.
She lied about him.
So it's like, both of them are bad, but I like that confrontation. She confronted.
I think she did. I think it was a setup. Did you see that?
I did see it. I had mixed emotions about that, but when she went up to him afterwards and he went to shake hands with her, and I thought, wow, she felt so strongly about this that she let the decorum go. I was a little uncomfortable with that, but then she was a little upset with what he had said or what she. See, so much of this is he say, she say. Yeah. From the beginning, and this is just an extension, and we're upset because we don't get to see Days of Our Lives, and my wife makes me watch that every day because we have to watch this other Days of Our Lives.
Oh, so you want to give Elizabeth Warren a whole enchilada?
Well, no, I just mentioned that.
Oh, you're joking.
I was joking. She doesn't deserve anything.
Oh my goodness.
Pocahontas.
Oh my goodness. And I just wanted to ask Sarah real quick what you thought about the man who confronted Elizabeth Warren about the student loans, because there's a lot of money involved with student debt.
I mean, I think it's cool that he could do that, stand up for himself. I also feel like, as lovely as it would be if everyone could get their student loans paid off, I feel like it's really difficult to be like, oh well, we can pay off everybody's student loans. I feel like she shouldn't have. I mean, I don't know the situation, but I feel like she shouldn't have
It's a big promise, huh?
it's a big promise to try to keep, and you're gonna get called out for that because nobody can feasibly accomplish that.
And that's from our resident Super Sarah, who is an intern and a college student.
And she's
at
learning
Grand Canyon University. And she's a college student at Grand Canyon University.
And she's practicing line dancing. Is that what it is?
She's also a dancer.
A dancer.
Yeah, she's a good dancer. So she'll keep us posted.
Secret Sonia, who's doing our YouTube and out there.
Thank you, Secret Sonia.
But Sarah, you're really impressing us with all your
Thank you.
things that you're doing.
So I want to thank the Chipsters also for tuning in. We'll be back on the air Tuesday on Central City Radio, Talk Central Phoenix. I don't think I have a guest booked. You know what? You're welcome to come through February if you just want to drop in and give us a report. That's fine.
Thank you so much. I was going to ask you about that because I thought, well, not completely a show, but we are going to be making some pretty significant moves over the next few days that we want folks to know about.
Just come in and give us the
it's
report.
important, and then that'll work out great. So I'll be following you. You.
Yeah,
Super.
come on Tuesday. Come join us.
Yes.
Super. All right, guys. Anything else before we sign off?
No, don't forget. I wanted to let people know our chairman's dinner is tomorrow. Chairman Kelly Ward is having a chairman's dinner. It's once a year. It'll be on Friday at the Biltmore, I believe. And it's, there's still tickets available. Just go online to gop.org and you can probably get some tickets. What else? There's discounts, of course, for committeemen. There's discounts for senior citizens. There's discounts for military. So go online and get your ticket. There's still time to get tickets.
And you'll be there.
I'll be there tomorrow evening. I'll probably do a podcast from there and for our listeners. What else? Oh, and Saturday is, of course, the state convention or the state meeting for the GOP.
I'll be there.
And we'll both be there. We'll be doing podcasts from the gallery and stuff, so that should be an interesting
When he says
day.
that, he means we're going to do a Facebook live stream.
Yeah.
Take our
Podcast,
camera on
yeah.
and do that, yeah.
Podcast.
Well, just so they know it's a Facebook live stream, because sometimes
Yeah,
a podcast you think, oh, later I have to
No,
listen to it.
Facebook live.
Yeah, so watch for that. That'll be probably, we usually try to do one in the morning,
Yeah.
maybe around lunchtime too, and we'll try to find you down there to get you on camera.
I'll be there for a few hours because then I got to go to work.
I just want to mention something really quick too. We do have an official troll of the Chips and Salsa page. I'm not going to mention her name, but if you follow our page, you know who that is. And George and I were talking about, because people complain and they think maybe we ought to get rid of that person, but you know what? It's America, and the reason that I don't, and we talked about this, we don't, is because we want you to see what's out there and how some people think and what's in their head. So if we don't know what's out there, we're never going to be able to convince them. So we feel like it's almost a necessary evil that we keep them. So I mean, if we don't tolerate craziness, we'll get rid of that. But that's why. And feel free to contact us and tell us about everything. I think we got everything. Did I forget anything? Oh, I just want to give a shout out to Kanye, because Kanye is saying say no to to voting for Democrats.
Yes,
That-
yes.
He said no.
Go Kanye.
So way to go. All right, I think that's it. Sarah, anything you'd like to say? It's all good. Thank you so much, Super Sarah, for helping us out tonight. Thank you, Chipsters, for tuning in. If you missed any part of this broadcast, come back and watch us here on the Chips and Salsa Show every Tuesday, Thursday, 5 p.m. I'm Al Salado with,
Don Jorge El Alacran.
and thank you, Reverend Clyde Bowen, for being on.
Thank you. God bless America. God bless Arizona.
Guacan. Hey,
Ah,
you did it.
perfecto.
Thank you. You made it.
Oh,
Yeah, so you
I
might
got
do
one of
a
these reads
Central
for
City
you.
Radio. That would be awesome.
Fantastic.
He's getting
I'm
it
looking
together.
at right. I'm looking at not oh, and then Johnny said to share one of these with you. That's our place in Bisbee, old Bisbee, 125-year-old home, and we've just completely restored it.